My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Hey everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in today. You know, we are still in this customer-centric space. And one of the things I would like to talk to you about today will be something that I believe that is very important because in today's world, we are more prone to do research and more prone to educate ourselves, right? And sometimes we do not have people coming to us, you know, in the manner that they should or could or whatever it might be. So one of the things I would like to point out to you tonight or today would be for you to be sure that you create an environment for your customer and or client to be more proactive in certain situations, because there's some things that you just can't touch. So what do I mean by that? You know, I mean providing your customer or client a way to for education and or resources. So if you pay attention that most websites, they have a place for you to go and pay attention to their most frequently asked questions. And with that, people can sometimes get answers more immediately versus having to wait until you have your business hours. And sometimes business hours are not always convenient. Sometimes even what I've experienced has been even wait times on phone. Sometimes it takes too long, right? So my question is, are you providing resources for your customers and or clients so they can educate themselves and enhance their information and or their knowledge base about your product and or services? So if you pay attention to, let's say you go out and buy a washing machine, because that's something that I had some struggles with over the last couple of weeks. And I start to realize that my smart washing machine was probably a little smarter than I was, if you will. So I had to educate myself on literally how smart it was and find out what apps I needed to download in order for me to troubleshoot what I thought was an issue, but it was not. If I would have read the directions, if I would have paid more attention to installations, procedures, or whatever it might have been. So are you paying attention to those little things? And sometimes and this is not me with my past issue, but sometimes those frequently asked questions will ask you the most simplest situation or problem solving moment. What do you mean by that? So, let's take the washing machine for an example. And unfortunately, you might see water on the floor. And you may determine, hey, you know what? I didn't see this water before. It's coming from the drum. It's coming from, as I'm washing clothes or whatever it might be. Have you taken the opportunity to take a look at the hoses in the back and see if they're tight enough? Make sure that they're not tangled up or whatever it might be. Have you noticed that maybe the washing machine, when it stops spinning or as it stops filling up, that maybe it pushes back too hard, or the force back might be too much on the water or the line. So you might get a little drippage here and there. Some things to consider, as you are putting together your FAQs for your customer and or client to enhance their overall experience of your product and or service. Now, let's also understand that this enables you to reduce some of the demands on you as the employer, as the customer service rep, or whatever it might be. It reduces the demand on you to answer the question, so you can handle more pressing issues where, maybe you need a technician to go out to this particular facility, where you may need to spend a little bit more time, quality time with your clients, to make sure that, hey, one, that you value them, that you hear what they're talking about, and that you try to create an environment where they feel appreciated, wanted, and deserving of your product and or service. I encourage you to take a look at any educational content, even creating your FAQs. Have you even considered putting together a video tutorial? Because also what happens, sometimes people don't want to read. Maybe it's easier for them to either listen to you or pay attention to you doing your how-tos, being, hey, here's step 1, so they can see that and mimic each one of your steps. These are things to consider as you're creating this customer-centric organization, and that your clients and or customers feel like they are a priority, like they feel as though they are a number 1 on your list. Let's not forget these individuals. Let's not forget that they are important to you. Now, let's take it another level, right? So we're talking about your customers that are external. What about your customers that are internal is some of the things that we've spoken about on this podcast. Now, how many of you have created these tutorials for your workflows within the organization? So I know that, some companies have training moments, right? And you get a little bit of credit within the organization. You can get your little certificate, things like that, right? And I remember that for myself, that I used to pride myself on getting those certificates, on having a whole folder, say, you know what? I had done this and I have done that when it's time for my review, things like that. But ultimately, what it did, it allowed me to become one of the more knowledgeable employees within my department. And it allowed me to cross-train in other departments because I knew how to do X, Y, and Z. So as you are sitting down and thinking about some of your external challenges, how to create a better experience via education and or resources. And this also goes back to our channel experience, if you will, how you are creating an experience for them on your website. But in you creating this environment on your website, are you also creating things for them to be educated, independent, if you will, and a resource maybe for other people for the same product or service? And at the same time, creating something for your employees so they can feel educated and well-rounded. And now you have an environment where they are empowered to move your organization, your vision, your mission, and your value statement forward. I thank you very much for listening today, and continue to listen to That Will Never Work podcast.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.